That was the voice of Laura Wasser right there, giving that amazing advice as should be expected. She got a degree in rhetoric from Cal Berkeley. I'm from the Bay Area, and that's where rhetoric tends to start. You from Oakland, you got a lot of rhetoric. What is a degree in rhetoric?
Yeah.
We'll come back to that. She got her JD at Loyola. Loyola Law School. She's like the divorce attorney of the stars. We won't name any clients right now because a lot of her clients are currently getting divorced.
And some of them are friends of ours.
And some of them are friends of ours. And so we won't say names. And she has this podcast called Divorce Sucks, which is a really interesting podcast, but it's very informative. And so if there's anybody out there thinking about getting divorced or been putting divorce on hold and you want to find the easiest way to do it, she could provide that or provide you ways to maybe seek counseling that can prevent you from getting divorced and paying out a lot of money. She also has a platform called It's Over Easy. And on that platform, if you just dead set on getting a divorce, she's going to walk you through it for a morsel of the price it would cost you if you were to use her at $950 an hour.
Oh, wow.
It just went up $1,000 an hour.
Because I was on Sway.
Yeah, because you was on Sway in the morning. It just went up. You good, Laura? And it walks you through it. To tell you if you're trying to, people get divorced, they got a new leaf on life. You want to get a trainer. She said you want to get your teeth whitened.
People do.
You could do that. How to divide the money, how to divide the proprietorship, all of these different things. Children.
Divide the children.
It's Over Easy. Check that out. Please welcome Laura Wasser on the line.
Hi.
So, citizens, if you have any questions about this, call up 888-742-3345. Now, Laura.
Yes.
What do they teach you in rhetoric?
Well, it's really interesting. And again, I was 19, 20 when I was able to declare a major. And I wanted to be at Cal because I'm a California girl. I had been back east here in New York. And it's instead of looking, for example, you look at a painting and they talk about the brush strokes or they talk about the color shading. They don't do any of that in rhetoric. And rhetoric is, what was this artist trying to say? What was his or her argument going to be? And so we took rhetoric of art history. We took rhetoric of avant-garde poetry. What argument is that person trying to make? So we always say, spare me your rhetoric. But rhetoric is really a great pre-law. It's great pre-debate if you're going to be a politician, anything like that. Convincing people of certain things, of your position through whatever medium you're using. And it was great because I got to take all kinds of classes that you wouldn't get to take if you were like an English major or a history major. I got to just keep doing everything. Rhetoric of romantic comedy films.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
So it made them
like Who's
really
Got
easy
Mail?
to get
You Got
through.
Mail?
Exactly. It was the earlier ones. It was like
when
the
Harry
black
Met
and whites.
Sally.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I know.
The Graduate.
I'm a rom-com type of guy. You went to,
I can see that.
I'm dead ass. I watched Lifetime, Hallmark, all that stuff. You went to Beverly Hills High?
I did.
Who was in school? Who'd you go? Who you went to school?
Pauly Shore. Pauly Shore and I graduated together. The Weasel.
That's funny.
And so what made you want to go into divorce law?
My dad was and is a divorce lawyer. And if you would have asked me when I was in high school with Pauly and said, what are you going to do when you grow up? I would have never, ever in a million years said, I'm going to be a divorce lawyer and I'm going to live right here back in L.A. Never. But I went to law school. I went to law school because my parents said, well, we'll keep paying for you as long as you're in school. And I was like, well, that works. And I'm not going to medical school because I did not have those grades. So I went to law school and I was working for a nonprofit called the Western Law Center for Disability Rights. And I was a baby lawyer. So we were talking about putting, the handrails in the bathrooms, disabled bathrooms and all that. And I got married after my second year of law school. And then after my third year of law school, I was like, this is not working out so well.
The marriage or law school?
The marriage.
Okay.
The marriage. Law school was fine.
Okay.
The marriage, we were too young, and we didn't have anything. We had some credit card debt and a pit bull, which I got both, by the way. I got both things.
Of course you did.
And of course I did. Yeah. And so we kind of did it ourselves, and I was a new lawyer, and I was going through all these forms, and I was like, I can do this. So I went to my dad, and I said, can I come work here? I need the dough. I don't have any money. I got to pay this credit card debt. I got to buy kibble for the dog. What do you think? He said, you can work here as long as you need to work here when you get on your feet. And I never left. And it's cool because, as you noticed from me wanting to be a rhetoric major and be a little bit of a dilettante, do a bunch of different stuff, that's what family law is, because I meet all these different people. And I learned so much about the different walks of life and careers, whether you're a teacher or a banker or a professional athlete. And I've been lucky at our firm. We represent some really cool kind of celebrity people. So I've met some cool writers and directors and actors and, like I said, athletes. And you get to know them really well for like 6 to 8 to 12 months, and then it's bye-bye. You run into them in a restaurant like a year later, and they're kind of like, hey.
They hate you by that point.
Well, yeah, they hate you, and they hate remembering the time in their life that you represented, which I totally get. So anyway, after doing that for a lot of years, I thought there has to be an easier way to do this. We have to change the way people in our culture approach divorce, because you have too many broken families and then kids coming up and making the same mistakes.
Right.
Is that a part of, do we change the way people approach marriage?
That would be good too.
Yeah.
That would be, I mean, the thing is, remember that movie Parenthood, and Keanu Reeves' girlfriend's pregnant, and he said, you need a license to fish and you need a license to drive, but any butt-reaming asshole can become a parent. Well, anybody can get married too. And there's some churches and temples where you have to do some counseling with a priest or somebody, but besides that, anybody can get married. And so maybe there should be a little bit more, but states don't like to intervene. People should be able to be free and do what they want to do. But then what happens is, if it's not working, so many people, rich, poor, educated, uneducated, they don't know the contract they entered into when they got married. I got people married 20 years, make a ton of money. They come in and they say, what do you mean I have to split that all with her? Or what do you mean I have to pay him support? He's been sitting on the couch for 20 years. Well, now I have to keep supporting him? Yeah, that's the law. You need to know that when you get married so that you understand the terms of this agreement.
Laura Wasser is here, man. Give out your social media. I want people, because a lot of people might be afraid to call and talk about that personal. Go ahead.
Social media is it's Laura Wasser Official, and then we've got It's Over Easy. Both of those are our social media.
Okay, I got Brent on the line from Cali. Brent, good morning.
Hey, Brent.
Hey, morning, Sway. Morning, everybody on the show. First time caller, long time listener.
That's what's
long story short here, I was listening to Rude Jude yesterday. He had a shout-out Rude Jude. He had the New York divorce lawyer on, and there's a lot of stuff that resonated with me, specifically because coming up in March is going to be my 7-year anniversary.
Of what?
And of marriage.
Oh, marriage. Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry.
I thought you were celebrating 7 years divorce, dog.
That would have been funny.
Okay, go ahead.
Unfortunately, this might be going the other way, you know. So my situation will be 7 years in March. We have 3 kids. Just turned 7, 5, and 3. Long story short, I was stupid a couple years ago, and I cheated. She found out about it recently, and now she can't get over it. So I guess my question is, with my wife not being able to get over the infidelity, is this worth pursuing? Because I want to, but she doesn't. She's at the end of it right now, and I don't know what to do.
Well, does she want to get divorced, or does she just want to keep torturing you within the marriage because you cheated on her?
We're at the point where it's torture. Yes, exactly. Unfortunately, we're at the point where she's holding it over me, and she won't get over it. That's just the way she is. I want to keep going. I know deep down she wants to keep going, but she feels that because the way marriage is set up this day and age, she feels like we have to either stay married or get divorced. And I feel like, in her opinion, she can't get over that fact where we can still be a family but not be married.
Okay, so Brent, we're going to do a hypothetical and pretend like Laura, this is your first meeting with her as your potential divorce lawyer. What would you say to him?
Counseling. You guys do any counseling, any therapy?
Not yet.
Okay, you got to get in there. This is what you need to do, Brent. You need to say, I love you. I screwed up. I am sorry. I want to make this work. We've got 3 babies. Can we get into some counseling? And I don't know what your financial situation is, but there are all kinds of mental health professionals that you can see, even if it's whether it's a group, whether people are trying to get their hours to get their license. They don't have to be expensive. They're way less expensive than a divorce lawyer. Get in there with her and find some good communication tools where she gets to vent, she gets to say how pissed she is at you, and then there will be an end on this and a good tool for every time she's feeling those feelings of having to come at you with you did this and whatever, and you say, I know, and here's what we do. I'm not qualified to tell you what those tools are because I'm only on the other side of it, but I think if you want to stay married, this could be saved, but you guys should get into some kind of couples counseling.
So that's interesting because you can make a lot of money by not saying that just going through the procedure, but that's not the type of attorney you are.
No, it's not the kind of person I am.
Okay.
And I do believe, look, if you love her and you want to make it work, I have seen many couples get past infidelity. Shit happens, you know? And she needs to also realize I don't know that you're the person to say this to her, but somebody will someday. If it's not my shit, it's going to be somebody else's shit. You already have 3 kids with me. You already have a history with me. Let's see if we can make this work.
Hey, Brent.
Kind of at the point where I realized that, and she asked if the shoe was on the other foot. I said I would probably still move past it. I could start a clean slate with you, but I don't think she wants to.
You don't know, man. How long ago did it happen?
It was in 2015.
Yeah, but she only just found out.
She just found out. Yeah,
recently.
So you got to give it time, and she'll have to give it time. You never know. But in the meantime, take down Laura's information just in case, okay?
You should go on It's Over Easy because we have a lot of content, and I believe there's even a couple of articles on there about getting past infidelity because our website is not just about getting divorced. It's also about staying healthily married, co-parenting together. So if that happens, and it's free. It's free to go on and read all this content. So check us out and, see how you do. But just be nice. Be nice to each other. Even if it ends up in divorce, you're still going to have to know her for the rest of your life because you got those 3 kids. You got a 3-year-old baby.
Yeah. They make it easy on you too, man. It's overeasy.com?
Yes.
Okay, check it. Check that out. Laura Wasser is here. She was once married. Hasn't been married since.
But I have 2 kids.
But you got 2 kids.
2 different dads. We all work it out. We were all at Thanksgiving together.
Yeah, blended family.
Yeah.
Why you haven't gotten married? Would you get married again?
No.
Damn, she answered that shit before you finished the question. Would you know?
Why would I need to do that? I have a boyfriend. I love him. It's all good. I don't need to get married. I don't like the state being involved up in my stuff. I like having it how I have it. It's just fine.
I can't believe a lawyer just said that.
A divorce lawyer.
There was I might be getting the term wrong, but I believe they called it a Mexican divorce, where people used to go to Mexico because you could literally just like have it done in like days and not have to split anything. And so people kept going down there until they made it illegal for people to annul a marriage. And so everybody now had to go through the regular system of dealing with the states and all that other stuff. So do people come to you trying to find ways to like avoid going through the process? Like, can I go to Switzerland? Or...
Yeah, people try to. The thing is, you have to get divorced where you live. What happens more often than that is people will come to California and live there for a certain period of time because we have better or higher spousal support, child support. We're a community property state, so you divide everything half and half as opposed to New York, which is an equitable distribution state. So people come there. They're like, hey, baby, I'm going to go live in California for the summer, and then they stay, and then they put their kids in school, and then bam, they want to file for divorce in California, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, my God, how did this happen? So that happens more often. But California has a 6-month waiting period, whereas like Vegas, much shorter. Even New York, you can get divorced more quickly than in California. So all the different jurisdictions have different rules, which I learned when I started It's Over Easy and we went national, because each state we have to do things differently for.
Laura Wasser is here. Tracy
and I
G.
feel like I learned all that from watching A Marriage Story on Netflix with Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson.
Yes.
And in that movie, it's interesting seeing their divorce lawyers dig up so much dirt on the other person's spouse. How far do you get into that dark side of the game, and does it ever play on your spirit?
Well, okay, so that was a great movie. It was a great movie because it really did show the emotion of how difficult it is to go through divorce. And I think it's so important that people see it and they get it and they feel it. I've heard so many people reach out and go, oh my God, I couldn't even watch the end. I was just crying and crying and crying. It brings things up. The lawyer part of it was not super real. Okay. First of all, like in that movie, they moved to LA for like 3 weeks and she was shooting a pilot and then she filed. You can't do that. You got to be there a little longer before you can file there. But then the way the lawyers did all that stuff wasn't super realistic because California, as all of the other states, are no fault states. So those things that they kept talking about, a judge would say, I don't want to hear about that. Nobody likes their spouse. Everybody has a drink or two when they get home. I've even had judges say to me, everyone smokes a little pot, Miss Wasser. You don't need to be telling me about that. So, again, if your kids aren't with you and you're not driving them, most judges don't care. So all that mudslinging doesn't make a lot of sense. That's why I think that movie is a great cautionary tale. You see that movie and you go, I do not want to end up like those people. I want to be more the people that get past this, move on, don't spend a ton of money, and are able to like co-parent our kids. Because I say to people, he may not have been a great spouse, but he could still be a really good dad.
Right.
Yep. Laura Wasser is here. Remind me of War of the Roses with Michael Douglas. That was my good divorce film right there. Dying on by chandelier. You don't remember that movie, DB?
She's too
War of the
young.
Roses. Michael Douglas, and
Kathleen Turner, and Danny DeVito.
Okay.
When they end up in the chandelier at the
Yeah.
end.
That's his nickname is Movie Junkie, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right,
Yeah.
Lou from DC, you want to comment on this?
What up, Lou?
Hey, what's going on? So one of the interesting things I've shared with some friends of mine. First of all, I'm on my second and last marriage.
Well, hopefully.
That's what they all say, Lou.
So it's definitely going to be the last if it ever goes down. But we're good. But what I've shared with some friends of mine, unfortunately for guys, we don't prepare like the women do. So I've talked to some friends of mine, and the balloon's going to go up. And they just keep sitting there and not doing any preventive things to be prepared. And so as I've seen some of my friends go through this, I started doing some
Preparation.
side lawyering, sharing things with them about you got a gambling problem. There's too many daggone casinos around, and I'm like, hey, you know what? You need to go into some of these casinos, stack your chips to the side, be minimal on your credit card, be minimal on everything so you can have some. And so I've shared with a couple people. They kind of used it as an opportunity just to be better prepared for the outcome of their divorce, and pretty interesting. And I know I'm not supposed to
Wait, but Lou, where you get your law degree from?
No, let me defend Lou for a minute. I don't know about stacking the chips and the credit card minimums, but I will say this. Education is everything.
Mm-hmm.
If you are thinking about getting divorced, like I said, you can come on our website for free and read about stuff.
It's overeasy.com.
You can listen to the Divorce Sucks podcast because we have people talking about their situations. Even go see a lawyer. A lot of us will meet with you for an hour for free sometimes as a consult. Get information. Get educated. That's the best preparation you're going to do. Hiding money or whatever, they're going to find that eventually, okay?
How not to cut you off, but how solid are prenups? Is it based on the attorney or?
It's based on, well, every state has different laws that the prenup has to follow. And if you have an attorney that you're paying to do a prenup, he or she better be doing it right. Otherwise, you're going to get sued for malpractice. So if there's full disclosure in the prenup, if both people have attorneys in the prenup, if both people speak English and understand the prenup, and it's signed enough in advance of the wedding, you can't be like throwing a prenup under somebody else's face as you're about to walk down the aisle. You have to have time to read it and understand it. Then it will likely stand up. And it has to have terms that make sense. You can't have anything that's, they say, unconscionable. Okay. So a lot of the things you hear about, like, oh, if he cheats on me, I get this. Or if she doesn't lose the baby weight, then I get this. Those are unconscionable. That's especially that last one, right? Say, ask for that. And I always say, you can't do that. That's not enforceable.
Wait, what'd you say?
Sorry,
If you don't lose the baby weight, and I divorce you, then I don't have to pay you as much money because you're fat. I don't know that you can't have that. Or if you have a gambling or a drug addiction and you go back to that, then I get more money. Those things are unenforceable in a prenup. But the basics are, I don't like the fact that California has really high spousal support, so I'm going to cap out my spousal support obligation at this. You should be able to live with that. If we get divorced, we don't have to argue about your lifestyle or the lifestyle to which you've become accustomed. This is the amount you're going to get. That kind of stuff you can put in a prenup, and they absolutely do hold up.
We were having this discussion about, by the way, Laura Wasser is here. I'm going to keep repeating her name because she's going to.
Just in case I forget it. I appreciate that.
No problem. Laura Wasser, official. Prince Harry and Meghan, the Duchess, are stepping away from their duties as senior members of the British royal family, and they want to establish themselves financially independent, right? Hypothetically, when you're dealing with somebody of that status, have you dealt with people of that status yet?
Well, I haven't dealt with royals, but
Not royals?
I've represented some, high-profile people.
Does your approach change, or with royals, are there special circumstances to divorce?
No, I mean I don't know much about royals, but Hollywood royalty, music industry royalty, sports royalty. I've done those guys. It's what's really amazing is how much they are just like us. They're scared, they're mad, they're freaked out. This is somebody that you could get any table at any restaurant, and they get VIP everywhere, and they come in and they go, I don't know what the law is, and I don't even know how much money I make because my business manager tells me that, or I'm just not sure. And I go, why would you know? If you haven't been divorced before, why would you know all the nitty-gritty of all this? Sit down, let's talk about this and figure out how we're going to get you out of it. The only big difference is really the media. You got to be a little more careful about what you file publicly and what you say, and if it's custody, you don't want to have your guy out at the club drinking or whatever, because then that's going to show up the next day on TMZ, and then the judge is going to say, well, why were you at the club if you were supposed to have your kids? So besides the media scrutiny, everything else is, and the dollars, but you just add some zeros, right? It's the same. They are the same.
And if you end up on TMZ, you might have Laura there as the as the expert on divorce, talking with Harvey and those guys. Hey, Laura, thank you for coming by.
Thank you for having me, guys. Thank you very much.
It's overeasy.com. Check that out if you're thinking about divorce or preventing divorce. It's a great way to find out more information. The Divorce Sucks is the name of the podcast. And Laura Wasser, WASSER official, is where you can reach her on social media. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Up next, who we got, DB?
TJ Miller.